You did. All right, there we go. All right, welcome to the First Focal Plane podcast, episode 23, where you come looking for intelligent dialogue, but you stay for the witty drivel. We know you do. It's like a train wreck. How are you guys doing tonight? Oh, that good, hey?
Oh, spectacular.
Wow. Where did we get these fucking spark plugs? Yeah.
No habla inglés?
Oh, great. Nancy!
And it's 8 o'clock where I am. It's almost bedtime. It's the start of bedtime. I got a long bedtime transition. A lot of rituals.
It's not quite my bedtime, and I'm doing friggin' great.
Nice. Attaboy. Well,
I don't know what's up with Sean. Looks like an old man with his glasses down like that.
Know. Yeah. No kidding, hey?
Glare so you guys can't see my porn.
I was going to give it to you doing my taxes, but let's go with your suggestion.
All right, we're brought to you
What's going on, fellas?
Do you want me to do this? Fuck, I'm really lagging, hey?
Yeah.
Only since we went live. Yeah, you were fine before.
That's probably exactly it. Okay, we're proudly brought to you by EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta, Canada's premier precision builder of lightweight hunting rifles, starter packages, and extreme long-range monsters. EM Precision has the right stuff to get you running out ahead of the herd. I'll put running twice in there. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and their website at emprifles.ca. What have we got next, Sean?
Yes, sir. Well, as always, we are partnered with Bolt Action Coffee, who bring you exclusive award-winning specialty coffees to the precision shooting community. Boasting specialty coffee cupping scores of 85.5 or higher, Bolt Action Coffee Roast will get your morning started right and keep you on target all day long. And there's different blends. I'm a fan of Scopes Up, but Overwatch Suppressed is their decaf blend. And check them out, boltactioncoffee.com. Use code FIRSTFOCALPLANE, all caps, to get 10% off your order. And by doing so, you support the show. So
nice.
It goes to pay me to come on and bring forth this vast wealth of knowledge and hilarity and
that's right.
Facial hair.
Wait, we're paying you?
Yes.
You just set the bar. Way to go.
I don't know. Sean was promising me all kinds of wild things. We wouldn't stop. It got weird. I said yes.
Now
5
I
minutes.
understand what he's talking about. He didn't mean he was getting paid in money. Sexual favors are payment for some people, I suppose.
It's 2020. Everything's currency.
Right.
Everything is currency. That's right.
Right? Toilet paper, sexual favors. This bank accepts all major forms of payment.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks.
Pulls their sponsor.
That's right. We are also brought to you by...
Let's go around the table. Who do we... Oh, yeah.
Well, fuck it then.
My bad. We're lagging. Sorry, my bad. Go on, Kurt.
This is weird. We got to kick one guy off. Adam, you're out.
Shit. You're out.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a great time.
We'll have to have you on again when you can't stay so long.
It's so Sean.
Sean's just gone.
All right, one more mention here. Call sign 66. They're a veterans-based organization founded to facilitate multi-generational passage of information, ballistic applications R&D, and shooter development. Their collective function is morally motivated and experience-based. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and their website at callsign66.ca. Welcome back, Sean.
Yes, sir. Lag is gone.
Nice.
That was a snappy response that time.
I knew it was me all the time.
That's what
Sean, what are you drinking there?
Okay, so I'm drinking some Sass Prairie Minhas Distilleries cherry and whiskey flavored grain spirit.
I've never.
That's what you were drinking last week.
Yeah, no, I was drinking the Saskatoon berry that I polished off after the show with you.
Oh boy. Okay.
That sounds like the pumpkin spice of whiskeys.
Like, right. You know what? Okay.
There's too many things in that title. Single malt, done.
I won this when I went in and bought that other bottle. I'm a huge fan of anything Saskatoon berry flavored. And then I spun a wheel and won this. So, and it's priced just right, and it tastes fucking glorious. So,
yeah, well, it's priced just right because you won it for free by spinning a wheel.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, I wasn't wrong in my statement. But yeah,
that's true.
And then because I'm trying not to be a big fat guy, I'm mixing it with Coke Zero Sugar.
So yes, that makes absolute sense.
Yeah. Huge difference.
Under your desk, you got one of those little pedal things my grandfather has, right? You just
that's how he's keeping the lights on.
No. It's the ab belt that's shaking me the whole show. Oh, Chris, what do you got?
Shit.
Oh, I'm drinking a cool, refreshing Coca-Cola.
Nice.
Actually, I'm not. This is an empty can. I finished this off at lunch. You got to give that big
smile, like we do in the commercials. Take a sip and then. Oh, shit.
That felt painful. Did it look painful?
It kind of did. It looked like your ass cracked there.
It kind of did a little bit. I need a young priest and an old priest.
Didn't you get enough of that when you were a kid? Woo! Anyway, Adam.
Hey, Adam. What do you got?
Bringing up my past work here, I guess.
He's killing the last of it. What are you drinking?
See, I'm choice B. I'm sponsored by Canada Dry. For the wettest days, you need to get dry. Canada Dry.
Nice.
Wow. That was really impressive.
Well, you guys, everyone had their pitch, their entrance, proprietary opening, multi-purpose tabs, When you get to my level, you can enjoy things like this.
Is that possible?
With that?
What level is that?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Come on, guys, don't make me brag right at the start of the show.
Once you too reach enlightenment, you will enjoy the Canada Dry.
Young grasshopper.
It's the gentleman's pop.
The gentleman's
pop.
It's not a soda.
Thank you. Soda.
All right, uncomfortable silence. Moving on.
There you go. What do you got, Kurt? What are you drinking? We haven't got you yet.
I got the very last of my Captain's Morgan. I'm really, really scrounging. I did manage to find a couple of beer that I didn't even know if I'll get to tonight, but whatever. Just not feeling it.
We will get to them. Oh,
okay. Yes. Might need some help here getting there.
It's okay.
Hey, Zach. Oh God.
Zach
Schwingelstogel.
Yeah.
What's up, Zach? How you doing, man?
I want to.
He's an industry giant, is he not?
Literally and metaphorically, actually. The guy's like 6'5", 6". I don't know. He's enormous. He carries me around like a baby at SHOT Show.
You need one of those Snuggies or whatever.
Yeah, like the
carry on the front
right
there. Yeah,
those carriers. Yeah, there you go.
It's adorable. My little legs are like kicking.
Right. Look away, Adam. Your beard's tickling me.
Well, speaking of Adam, why don't we go ahead and introduce you, because everyone knows Chris from last week, but let's go on with Adam. Adam, who the hell are you?
I'm just a gun dude, really. I've been fortunate enough to survive in this industry almost a decade, probably going on like nine years, almost 10 years. I've been everything from counter jockey to working with a little bit of the media side of things, like with Funker Tactical. I cut my teeth on the range as like a lowly range officer, risking my life, taking members of the public out shooting, introducing them to firearms. That was probably one of my greatest gigs. Obviously the best ones are the poorest paying, but it was a hell of a good time. I got to introduce a couple thousand people at least to the shooting sport for the first time, so it's pretty cool. So when I graduated more towards like the sales, graduated as if that's a moving upwards in the world, as I moved to laterally to sell guns and not just shoot them. You bump into people like, oh, you took me shooting for the first time, and that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Kind of keeps me going in the
industry.
industry.
You're doing God's work, sir.
That is God's work, you know. Like realistically, if I could say it, actually, I was just saying to my my partner the other day, my work partner, not my life partner. Not that there's
We don't
wrong
judge.
with either, but just
Moving
for the
along.
sake of clarity, you know, I'd love to go back and spend a day being an RO again with like random groups and stuff like that. I miss doing that. But yeah, you know, I started at Target Sports. It's kind of where I cut my teeth, and I worked there for a while and fought and stepped on the necks of my colleagues, and you know, cheated and lied my way up to be sort of like lead range officer there, and got to do some cool stuff. And then I did a brief stint with Funker Tactical, like I was saying. The media side of stuff, that was really cool. For a year, you know, flew around a couple cool places, got to meet a lot of cool people all over the States, Poland, went to the Philippines, which was awesome, till you get sunstroke in the middle of the jungle. And then
They're
there's some,
just kicking you as they walk by.
yeah, some Filipino
her
army guy
problem?
who wants to just give you a, what is an IV, you know, basically cleans the needle and in it goes. And then
Was
so
a
I did
needle.
that. I did that for a year, and then kind of felt like time to move on, something that actually like paid me a little bit of money. Had a ton of cool stories and experiences, but was saving up for a house. So that's when I jumped on board with Firearms Outlet Canada, and I did 3-4 years there. So you know where I'm at, what, 7 years now, and I did 3-4 years there. FOC is an awesome place to work. You know, it was a newer store. Like when I joined up, they were kind of just getting their feet under them, and they're one of the big boys now. They've really grown, and they've really expanded. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. And you know, I'm kind of a restless guy. Like I've had a lot of jobs. I've done a lot of different things, and you know, I just start feeling the winds change a little bit. And I got this kind of opportunity to jump onto Amchar, which is what I'm doing right now. And selling Glocks was like the main thing that got me over, because it's the easiest thing in the gun industry to sell, realistically.
Absolutely.
You know, so I really don't have to be
If you're
a
not in
salesman per
Canada.
se.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, as he takes a drink of Canada Dry.
Yeah. Now I'm just now that was acting. I'm actually out. So.
Oh, there you go.
Who's the dude in the top hat on your coffee mug? Is that a dude in a top hat? What is that?
That
Am I
is.
even
This is
seeing it right?
actually. Here's my pitch. I don't know if you can see that with the light. This is a mug a friend bought for me. It's specially made for guys with mustaches. Rooster, I know you know. Every time you drink, right? It's everywhere.
That
You know,
looks like that's an adult sippy cup.
Yeah, it's an adult. It's a big boy sippy cup.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's a genius
I'm
idea.
gonna have to look into that here. I've been struggling all this time.
No, it monitors everything. Like, you know, I wear everything I drink. And I love soup, like 7 days a week.
I have a special elastic band that I just kind of put on my face here.
The worst is, like, tell me, like, you know, a lot of people, I'm going to talk about masks for 2 seconds, and then I'm going to never speak about it on this podcast again. A lot of people complaining that they can't wear masks, but, like, you know, it's really the bearded guys that are struggling the most. Okay, they're not made for it. It's completely uncomfortable. If you have a mustache, like, you're eating it the entire time the mask is on.
You should be able just to like do this and walk around like that, and that should count.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Teresa Tam needs to make a ruling on that.
Right, rubber band.
Yeah.
I'd be for it. It's just,
No,
you know, like
impenetrable.
So when you see people who can't wear masks, just know that there's a bearded guy struggling more than you out there, and you know, tighten it up. And that's for my bearded guys.
Bearded
that's
guys
all I'm
are
going
the
to
most
say about
marginalized people in society.
Right? Remember that thing going around, the saying we had like fecal matter and all this sorts of stuff in our beard when you go to the washroom? It's hard to be a bearded guy in 2022. Well,
it is.
You need a beard, right? You don't get these emails. You don't have one.
The beard discrimination hurts.
Yeah, my beard's not long enough.
Right. Hey, my eyes are up here, right?
Right.
Anyways, so you know, for I just kind of rolling over. What is it? November now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm coming up on my 1 year with Amchar Canada. And they were a newer company to Canada. They're monsters down south. Our parent company, Amchar Wholesale, they're just beasts. You know, they're like one of these big, huge American distributors. heard once they account for maybe 10% of all Glock sales sold in the world, which is a pretty
That's a
impressive
lot of
number.
Glocks.
That's a
Yeah,
lot of
man.
Glocks, right?
That's
So,
a lot of Glocks.
you know, I jumped on board with these guys, and it's been pretty luxe. It's actually, now that COVID is here, it's the smartest thing I could have done because I work from home.
Oh
now.
yeah. Well,
I work
that
from my couch.
it probably doesn't hurt that you're probably getting record sales with COVID and all that, right? Well, out of the
Yeah.
States, you know.
Yeah,
Something we glossed over real quick. Just tell the peoples what exactly you're doing with Amchar.
Well, I basically made up my own title. So it's really impressive.
best job.
National account manager. But yeah, I wear a couple hats there.
La-di-da.
La-di-da. Basically, I'm a sales rep. You know, in common man's parlance, I'm a sales rep. But my territory is all of Canada, so I get to spread my wings. COVID killed the travel bonus of this job, but I'm pretty cool with sitting on my couch and doing my work there. I'm not a big fan of airports. I don't especially like planes,
people.
although I don't mind people especially. No, actually, let's be honest. The biggest benefit of this job is I don't deal with end users anymore. So, sorry, guys.
When you were flying, did they make you buy a second ticket for your beard?
Oh, of course. Of course. I thought we were not going to talk about the discrimination.
Did you check that thing, sir?
Discrimination everywhere. I'm sorry. I'm a humanitarian. When I see discrimination, I have to call it out.
You know what? They frisk them up pretty well too. I don't know, Rooster, if you've flown recently, but over the last 5-6 years, they're getting handsy with the beards.
What are you going to hide in there?
What are you going to hide in there?
Yeah,
What are you not going to hide in there?
Wouldn't you like to know? If we told
I
you,
need to grow
you'd
my
have
beard out.
Yeah, I think you would.
Would?
So how has business been this year?
You know what? We're like record sales. Everyone in the industry is experiencing record sales. You know, everything was kind of going booming and roaring along, and then, you know, we hit the other side of the coin, is that, you know, everyone knows that we're 1/10 the market of the US is, and they're eating up all the product before it can get up here.
Yeah.
So I was caught in a position where basically all my inventory was restricted class stuff, and, you know, kind of combine COVID apocalypse 2020 and May 1st OIC, and we all know the non-restricteds are what's selling a lot right now. So, you know, it's kind of ebbed and flowed after that initial insanity, you know, where we thought the world was going to come caving in and people were flooding to get toilet paper and that kind of thing, and we were doing 300% of what we normally would do, you know, and I heard similar from most of my dealers.
And again,
you know, not everyone fared as well, unfortunately, though.
Just for the viewers again, why don't you tell them everything? Obviously, you mentioned Glocks already, but what else is Amchar distributing?
You know, we've grown a lot in the last year. So I inherited a lot of lines that we no longer carry, a lot of surplus stuff. We had a lot of kind of Mossberg odds and ends that I had to move through, and we kind of wiped the slate clean. Obviously, we left Glock. We decided, again, we have a lot of competition, but we jumped back in and we distribute Mossberg. We became the exclusive distributor for Fiocchi ammunition, which, you know, we did get one shipment in. I love the ammo. It's great ammo. That was really, I don't know, I felt like Trump there for a second. It's great ammo, best ammo.
Just ask anybody, they'll tell you.
The ammo. Sorry. It's great. You know, I'm just waiting to get some more in. We do Troy pump action rifles, which have been an awesome product for us. Yep. Right. I love them. It's sad that I love them now, but I love them. And we just picked up a brand of flashlights called Nightstick flashlights. So I'm super excited about that. Don't ask me for any technical stuff because I'm
flashlights.
Oh, son of a gun. No, it's you know what I mean.
Why are they making me talk about stuff that I sell?
I know. No, just don't ask me about specific batteries and lumens right now because I'm in the memorizing phase. But basically, it's to be upfront about it, it's a Streamlight competitor, a little bit more affordable. You know,
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Same good quality. They're bigger in the States, like all all things are before they come up here. So they're not the top tier, they're not surefire, but for your everyman, like most people, they're going to do the job. And the nice thing is that a lot of their models have the same footprint as Streamlight flashlights, so all your holsters are going to be compatible. It's a lot of bang for the buck. It's a company that I really enjoy. I like aggressive companies in the sense of companies that are hungry for business and willing to kind of go to the distance. So, they give you a lot of stuff in the package. It comes with all your batteries. It comes with multiple mounts, depending on what model we're talking about. Their long gun lights, you get your pressure pad included, or you just get like a push button activator. You get a standard mount, offset mount. So, they really kind of roll out the red carpet for you in
Stuff
terms
that
of what
wouldn't
they're offering.
necessarily, or they'd be a value add, or that'd be a value add to a package, but that's something you'd have to buy if you bought a Streamlight or a
Exactly. Like a lot of the higher ends, the stuff you get, basically you're paying for just the unit themselves. So, if you get a Scout Light, you're going to want to buy the pressure pad, you're going to buy the pressure pad keeper, the cord keeper, or whatever. If you use a zip tie, you can do that. And these guys just kind of give you a whole package, and it's we're talking sub $200, which I think is around where the mortals are working. I got a Surefire light, and I love it because I didn't pay for it. I got it at SHOT Show. It's my favorite light. But
I do need a light for this, FYI. So
FYI, I know a guy can hook you up. And we'll get that string over to me as you promised, and I'll send a light out your way.
There you go.
So it's just, for me, it's great quality. It's a great price point, and that's kind of why we jumped on it, and no one else is doing it, which is kind of hard for a distributor right now, because there's a lot of legacy. I'll say there's a lot of history in terms of distributorship in Canada, right? So you guys know North Silva, and the bigger guys, they've been around. They eat up a lot of the scraps, right? So it's hard for me to find.
Yeah, you got some heavy hitters that you're going up against. How has that been?
I like being the underdog. I like kind of being forced to be sort of creative, be like guerrilla tactics in a little sense. So for the year we've been on here, because kind of we were mentioning before we went live, like our website is kind of deplorable right now. It's not functioning as it should. We are working on it. But we've been on our hearts and minds, my partner and I, what we call our hearts and minds initiative. So, we process, we communicate, we troubleshoot, we do everything faster than our competitors. So, fortunately enough, we are small, we are light, and we can move quickly. You place an order, it goes out that day, as long as it's, prior to 3 o'clock, whatever it is. So it's been a challenge because, I'm one guy, Big Rock has 30 reps, right? And each rep has their own territory, whereas I'm doing coast to coast, so it skews my hours. The travel, obviously because of COVID, has kind of been non-existent, which is a little bit nice, but it puts me at a disadvantage because I'm so far from my dealers.
Yeah.
But that being said, we're kicking butt. We've become the largest Glock distributor amongst our competitors. We signed up the most people in what's called the Glock Stocking Dealer Program, which is kind of like a feather in my cap for, something to brag to the bosses about, and definitely make Jim Castles from Glock Canada happy. So it's, because again, we are smaller, we can be a little bit more creative, we can be a little bit more risky in terms of promotions and what we kind of run, and it's been fun, to be honest. It's been a good challenge. It hasn't been easy, and it hasn't been without its frustrations, but what job is it, right?
Exactly. Speaking of frustrations, how has May 1st and post May 1st affected your business?
It probably comes out as a wash, if I'm going to be honest.
You can swear, on this show. Hey?
I'm working on it, man. I'm trying not to. My mom says I swear too much. No, obviously, one of the lines we carried was American Tactical, which is one of the sister companies of Amchar Wholesale. So it'll give us a big feather in our cap in terms of having exclusive product, being tied to a manufacturer that we could develop and design product with as well. So it destroyed an entire brand line of ours, so it was a huge kick in the genitalias. We were fortunate actually because we were having a shipment coming inbound that we were able to interrupt before it left the manufacturer, so we would have been caught with $100,000 worth of unsellable gear. And unluckily, a lot of my dealers had offloaded their inventory as well. So not a lot of my guys got stuck. There's a couple of my guys who have 4 or 5 rifles. And again, these ATI rifles, they're retailing for $550, sub $600. So it's not like you're getting stuck with, a bunch of Mark IV M4s,
I was just
DDs
going to say,
something.
Daniel Defense and, guys that have 100 rifles in stock that they can't do anything with. And
well, look at all the big boys, or look at, North Silva, man. They millions of dollars, I'm sure, is tied up in paperweights right now. So we were pretty fortunate in that regard, but we've also lost one of our exclusive lines, which was a huge kick in the bag.
No doubt.
Well, we sold a shit ton of pistols, right? So
like you said, it's a
who's
wash.
to say it's a wash? Like, right? I would.
Is it though? Like your markup on pistols versus rifles, though, your margin's got to be smaller, isn't it?
100%, yeah.
Well, especially with Glock map pricing and that sort of thing.
Yep.
That's gonna hurt you a little bit, but volume discounts too. You guys, if you're distributing Glock, and like you said, you've made a lot of leeway with Glock. That's got to be good for business. But regardless, we're not going to get into pricing. But so, who are some of your dealers? If you don't, for the listeners, if they want to support you guys.
You know what? I'd like to say I do a little bit of business with most of the industry. And that was one of the things that I really enjoyed from leaving FOC. Not that I enjoyed leaving, but when you're in a shop, that's your world, right? And you don't have a whole lot of opportunity to get out and fraternize with your community. So, stepping up to the distributor level, I have a lot more interaction with a lot more of the industry, which is awesome. But, in Ontario, we're pretty heavy. The guys over at Bullseye North and Select Shooting, Tenda and FOC, our SFRC, like I said, I like aggressive companies. I'm an aggressive guy. So, I hit the ground running, and, I'm kind of a outspoken, bit of a loudmouth braggart, if you will. So, I've already knew most of my dealers. I've already noticed most of my customers. So it was an easy transition. And, it's interesting because you think, your larger, let's say, volume or your bigger dealers, they're going to be a lot more time invested in them. But what I'm finding is they run smooth. They tell you when they need you, they say jump and I say how high and they tell me and away we go. It's a lot of my smaller shops and newer shops that I really enjoy dealing with because it gives me an opportunity to kind of share what I've learned a little bit, from working the counter, from doing marketing, from working with website stuff, sort of the whole enchilada of things and really sort of helping them progress and move up, which is kind of my goal. And, ever since I stepped into the industry, one of the first things you hear is the sky is falling, they're coming for our guns. And, 9 years later, they came and they took them. So, there was a lot of wisdom to that. But, what I've also always felt was that we need a strong community. And if I'm not actively building the community and either introducing people into the shooting sports or supporting the growth of the community as a whole, then, my time in this industry is going to be finite because we're going to be wiped out of existence. So, I've been singing that mantra for quite a number of years, is that the industry really needs to put our differences aside and kind of swallow a little bit of humble pie in some regards and in some relationships and really start helping each other out, because I don't, not that I don't see it, because everyone's got their friends and there's, I don't want to say cliques, but everyone's kind of got their groups. But,
you're not wrong.
Our industry, let's be honest, guys, we're 10 years behind every other industry out there.
If not
what
more.
I mean?
Yeah.
I'm being nice. So,
vacuum cleaner sales is way ahead of us.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, I've got friends.
But to be fair, those vacuum cleaner guys have their shit.
They're fucking great, man.
Don't get me started on Dyson, man.
Let's stop talking about big.
You want me to sell something? I'll sell you a Dyson right now. Shit is amazing. Woo. The big ball, baby. We're living big ball over here.
You're not big ball and you're not doing that.
You're not doing life right.
So you were talking about how, the industry has kind of came together. And I think the CCFR has been a big part of that in regards to, their core challenge, and then they're also helping, John Hipwell at Wolverine. They're helping the Shooting Edge with theirs. They're, a lot of these guys have core challenges against. This has really brought the community together. And now with the National Police Federation announcing on Monday that they're against it, essentially. How is that gonna, like, if there's a stay, are you gonna bring that order in from ETI, or what's gonna happen?
Man, wasn't that nice to see, hey?
No kidding.
I don't know, man. Like, is it nice to see? Sure. But are these going to be the same guys collecting rifles?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, sure, their union says that, but, once they get their marching orders, their thoughts, their hopes, and their prayers, they become
they're still
secondary.
going to be duty bound, but it's got to carry some political weight to know that the police force
does
union,
with this
current
government, does it really?
No, with this government,
they ignore anything.
The whole thing really has always
or...
been a war in the court of public opinion, right?
Exactly. And here's what the gun industry needs to understand, and this is what I've been saying to all my close friends and pissing everybody off. And I hope you guys take this for what it is as well.
I got. If you're gonna piss us off, I got to get ready. Okay.
Get ready.
Okay.
What a lot of people don't realize, or to the extent, is nobody gives a fuck about you and your guns and your AR-15s and whatever your hobby is, or whatever your way of life is. They just don't. There's no argument you can make. You know what I mean?
Appeal to anybody's sense of empathy at all is fucking useless.
Well, obviously, like, you know what I mean? On an individual basis, sure. Taking someone out shooting, that's what you're going to do. But are we going to take out the other 28 million Canadian shootings? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what we're unfortunately dealing with, and again, this is kind of where I've been frustrated with the industry in a sense, and I'll air my issues out to you guys. I'm going to burn it all down tonight.
Let's do it.
I'm burning all my bridges tonight, boy. It's a new job.
The night was going great until Sean asked him about the order in council.
Right.
Nobody listens to this show anyway, so
yeah. So
so
going back to kind of what I was saying is, like, nobody cares about us, right? And the one thing, and as a younger man, I'll say, getting into the industry, I was always so frustrated with the old dogs. You know what I mean? Because they were the guys making things exclusive. They're the guys not wanting to open things up. They're the guys keeping us in the shadows. And, I used to be like, come on, guys, if we're going to live in the shadows, the decision will be made without us entering into the conversation, and we'll be wiped out of existence. Yep. But it's a catch-22 now, because now more people know about it. The message is there is no singular message. So let's be honest. What's the unifying message in our industry? The CCFR has been probably the most vocal with getting a cohesive message out there, and my hats off to them for that. But even inside, and again, depending on what your view or what your perspective is, or how much of the history there's a lot of teams playing together, but it's there's still teams, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think, I don't know if it's accuracy through volume is a better thing, or if accuracy and singularity of focus is going to be it. But I'm not a smart man, so I don't know these worldly.
Well, you have my dream job, so you're doing something smarter than I have, and that's not that hard. But anyway, I digress. What
I was trying to think of a Forrest Gump quote. It wouldn't come to me.
Can't sit here.
But what has gone on since essentially 1990s and forward hasn't worked. And what the CCFR is doing is taking a completely different approach than what the other orgs, and I'm going to name them, the NFA, the CSSA, and the CCFR. They're the big three. And what the other two have done since essentially their inception hasn't worked. And Tony Bernardo, friend of the show, has done a lot in the background with the Conservative government, with Stephen Blaney and that sort of thing when they were in power. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not just what's the word I'm looking for? Janet Jackson had a song, and I'm pulling out the Eddie Murphy.
What
here.
the fuck?
What have you done for me lately? right? And you know, now it's
I actually
the
really
CCFR.
appreciate how you brought that back. I thought we were going into.
Can you make a
fucking woods.
Madonna one later?
Right back onto the road. That was really well done.
But like, you know, like Rod has the podcast, he has his multiple TV shows. Tracy's on the Hill nearly every day, hammering people and holding them to account. And you know, especially now with the NPF, the National Police Federation, coming out with their statement on Monday saying this isn't acceptable. This is going to do nothing for crime.
Yeah,
that's a step in a positive direction. But being that we have the government we have now, it's not going to do it. They're going to do what they want anyway. But
yep. That's
what here, let me jump in for a second, you sons of guns.
Do it, Adam.
You know, again, I agree with everything you said. It basically is my thoughts as well. Here's the problem, though, is, you know, with the CCFR, with the CSSA, even with the NFA, we're all inward facing. You know what I mean? We're inward facing. You don't have to convince me that guns are awesome. You don't.
I don't know if that's
entirely
true, though. I think the CCFR has really tried to be outward facing. I think the big problem is that they've been on their heels since their inception. You know, they picked up a pretty big ball, and people have been taking slaps at them ever since they picked it up. I think what they're doing with the TV shows now, what they tried to do with their explainer videos that they put out on YouTube, well, let's put it this way. I think those are better attempts than 100%. Any other organization has made to be outward facing. I think they'll get there too. I think they're making headway.
The problem is those types of things, that type of media, those programs that they're putting out and everything, really only appeal to the people that are already in it.
The echo chamber.
And I don't know how else you go about making it more attractive to the passers-by.
Listen.
CTV, Global, CBC to air these shows.
They're a fucking write-off.
Exactly.
Money. This is the problem. And so May 1st came through, and obviously it blew through like a shit tornado through the industry. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about end users. I'm talking about industry folks, right?
For sure.
And in classic government way, there's no clarity. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on at the moment, right? So, you know, we have a chat group on a social media thing. I won't tell, it's super secret, only industry people, you know, but the ideas start rolling. What are we going to do? How are we going to
back up.
Whoa. Easy there.
No. Forget I ever said anything. The guy you want to talk to is Daniel Fritter, owner of Caliber Magazine. He'll invite you. I'll get you guys on it after the show. But
there we go.
I'll call him up. I love Dan. I'll call him out.
You're going to wish you had one of those Men in Black neuralizer things.
Right.
Just look into the screen, folks.
Here's your Forrest Gump quote for you, okay? I'm not a smart man, but what I would have suggested, and what my whole point was, because let's be honest, right? The conservatives don't give a shit about us as much as they can use us. That's how I feel. That's my personal opinion. Whether I'm right or wrong, that's the reality. What I think we should have done is pulled a shit ton of money and gone out and hired an actual PR firm, and we pay the money and we get on actual like real TV. Netflix maybe, but you know what I mean. We need an actual PR agency that knows what the hell they're doing to help us craft
with what
a cohesive message. Honestly, it has to be so innocuous because, again, remember my main point. Nobody gives a shit about us. No, sorry, I'm reading a comment.
I saw that.
Nobody gives a shit about us, right? So the message has to be something that they can resonate in. Now, if you want to pay me $1 million to craft that message, I'll get my pen and pencil out and start writing it. But what I envision and what I think is sort of the most watered down message is that with every organization that combats violence, that assists victims of violence, these are our allies. These are the people that we need to join forces with to say, listen,
I've been thinking that
leave my personal possessions, my hobbies, my life, like how I earn a living, leave that off the table because I know you don't give a shit about that.
Yeah,
what you care about, and I talk, you know, the anti-gun people, what they care about is safety. They want to save Canada, and they don't want gun violence, and they don't want to open up a newspaper.
Don't you think that
that's our
Tracy Wilson,
message.
especially with CCFR, has been pivoting towards that pretty well, though, in her social media, if nothing else?
Yeah, for sure. But again, it's, my
It's been
mom doesn't
tiptoeing
follow Tracy
around that, I
Wilson,
think.
you know.
Yeah.
That's who we need to reach. We need to reach my mom's cohorts and
Yeah.
my sister's cohorts and these people who don't have, it's one thing if your spouse, friend, uncle, brother, sister, whatever is into shooting sports. It's there's immediate proof. Okay, this person is not insane or all the way insane. Let's hear what they have to say, but at the end of the day, like I said, and this is what I tell everybody in the industry, nobody gives a fuck about your AR-15s. You know what I
They
mean?
don't.
I
No,
do.
they don't.
I do.
Zero.
I'm sitting beside a safe of guns that I can't even use. I care a lot, but nobody
Even
does.
gun owners who don't have AR-15s don't give a fuck about your AR-15.
Exactly, and
No,
this is
that's
why,
right.
like, again, it's so fractured, and I like what I shouldn't even say I love what the CCFR is doing, in the sense of they're rallying the troops. You know what I mean? They're getting everyone under the same banner, and it's not an easy road. It's not like everyone's like, oh, you're pro gun, okay, well, I'm pro gun too. We
Yeah.
have, the forever divide between your hunters and your sport shooters and your tactical shooters and your target shooters and your long range, like, you know what I mean? We're all waving the same flag, but nobody wants to wave it at the same time because everyone's obviously focused on self-interest, right?
Well, I
Like,
think that's part of the problem. I think that each individual group doesn't think that they are waving the same flag. Hunters don't
100%.
think that they're waving the same flag because they
No,
don't want
you're
semi-automatics.
absolutely right, for sure.
Sport shooters don't think they're waving the same flag because they don't use grandpa's fucking bolt action, grandpa's 30-06.
I've heard of club infighting, even like guys in the same club. Sean, I think you can attest to this. Oh yeah. No, you don't need that.
There's the old boys club.
Yeah.
And
Go fuck yourself. Just because you shoot a Mosin, and doesn't mean that, right? Doesn't mean that.
Here's another problem too: is that I don't know if you can say we've allowed ourselves, but look at guns themselves as a social phenomenon. You know what I mean? As a thing in society, it has become hyper politicized. You know what I mean? All over the world.
It's a tool.
You go to some countries and it's the symbol of salvation. You go to a neighboring country and it's the symbol of oppression. So,
well, as far as Canada is concerned, violence in general has become, verboten amongst, the majority of society. Like it's whether it's guns or, old, bladed weapons, whatever, martial arts, it doesn't matter. It's all, we're all wearing man buns and sitting around singing Kumbaya, and nobody would stand up and throw a punch if you stepped on somebody's foot. It's no surprise
your
that
mouth, sir.
I will fight you.
I don't give a shit about your training.
Fisticuffs it is then.
You know that saying about picking a fight with an old man, right?
Well, he's going to kick you and watch your nuts.
He'll probably just kill you if he can't fight you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, like, none of that exists
the Canadian
anymore.
psyche, though, right? Like, again, look at our military. Our military is world renowned.
Yeah.
But you talk to regular Canadians that's outside of they're unheard of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, our guys, you're on UN missions. They're peacekeepers. No, these guys are doing, serious stuff
They're
on
breaking world records
continents
with
and
kill distance.
Not
But we're
even that
so
the shit we
polite.
don't hear about, right? And,
Yeah.
and what people don't understand is that we are one of the foremost special forces operator, or not we, I shouldn't talk for them because
Well, I am.
but
I am.
Canadians,
Me and my Canada Dry.
So Canadians are known for not being the politics or the fame. They do the job that other people don't want to do. And
no, they're silent professionals, or they're humble professionals, and you know what? I prefer that over sort of the braggadocious American mentality,
Yeah.
And
but that gets you nowhere, obviously, right?
Fuck. Yeah,
well,
right.
and you know
right?
what the fundamental problem is in Canada today is not many people get punched in the face anymore.
Yeah.
Not enough. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm doing my part. What the fuck are you guys
You're
doing?
trying. Yeah. I know you're trying, buddy. I'm trying too, but
well, and Chris,
I can't run as fast as I used to, though.
And your business isn't 100% where you want it to be, Chris, and that's mainly due to COVID.
No,
but,
hell no.
You know,
Yeah.
but like, you know, how many kids do you get coming in that have watched a UFC fight and be like, that's cool, and then they get hit in the face and they're like, oh, I'm done. Like, you know, it's or they get tapped out or.
More to the point. Well, I mean, yeah. It's obvious. We get people come in like, I just want to be a fighter. I want to train UFC, bro. And then they have one sparring session. They're like, he punched me in the face. Like, sure, that happens. I think what's really more illustrative of really the overarching theme of what we've been talking about for the last couple of minutes is the number of times that I have gone to a school with parents on behalf of one of my young students because the young student defended themselves from some asshole kid.
Right.
And have had to sit in front of a principal and say, look, you need to understand that this boy is, or this girl learning how to defend themselves because this is the world we live in now. It's okay to marginalize people, bully people, do everything that you possibly can except punch them in the face. And you need to understand that if you're not going to take care of this, me and this child's parents are showing them how to take care of this, because what we're not going to do, what they're not willing to do, what these parents, these specific parents are not willing to do is raise a child who was bullied and is then going to grow up with low self-esteem and will end up bullying others.
Shit. You know what's ironic?
So you
about
need to
that
get
whole
your
thing?
shit together.
What's ironic about that whole thing is that student of yours has far more fucking discipline than anybody else in that goddamn school.
Absolutely.
And far more frustration.
You know, I spent 6 years working for Toronto District School Board. And one of the things I tried to do is bring in martial arts practice to offer to the students, bring in sort of these sort of physical systems like yoga, something that is at its root just a training mechanism. And it's our students are desperate for it. I think society is desperate for us, you know, and I think without taking us wildly off topic about the ills of our society, one of the things I think that we've lost in this sort of hedonism of choices where you can live any life you want and do anything and be anything and sample anything is we've lost sort of a definitive moral code or an honor code
100%.
or a standard by which we measure ourselves, you know, and I think these are the things that we're missing. And I think that's part and parcel with because our society has organized itself in a way that we abdicate all responsibility for every part of our lives, you know, and there's very few people. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
So what I was going to say is we're these days, most people are responsible for only their base functions of living, right? Like you brush your own teeth, but you go to a dentist to take care of them. You know, most people go to the mechanic to fix their car. Most people shop at a grocery store instead of growing their own food. Most people
have a job, but you're still relying on CERB to pay your bills at the end of the month.
You know, so I think what we've done is we've abdicated along with a lot of our intelligences and a lot of our discipline, but our responsibility to be what I call a full human being. You know, are you capable of protecting yourself? Are you capable of educating yourself? Are you capable
that's somebody else's job now?
Exactly. You know, I don't have to work out. I can go to the gym and I can pay a guy who will make me move my arms and legs, right? And that's personally, that's what I need because I'm lazy as fuck right now and I'm not working out. And, you know, it would be so easy just to pay a guy or girl, whatever, someone to come over and help me do what I should be doing. But again, it's so easy to give up whatever we need to do or whatever we feel like we should be doing because there's so many distractions, but B, we don't have to be Renaissance men and women anymore or people, you know, we just have to be social media savvy. We have to be fashionable. We have to be hip or cool or, you know, have that truck or have that gun or whatever it is. And I think we've forgotten what martial systems were really meant to train you is to fight your own demons, to fight your own weaknesses and shortcomings and not, you know, like I trained martial arts, right? I trained martial arts for 10 years and no one ever tried to mug me in a dark alley. No ninjas ever jumped out and, you know, we had a sword fight. But what I
no matter how much I wanted them to.
Please. Yeah. Right. And again, this whole apocalypse was such a letdown. You know, I packed up all my bags, getting ready to bug out, and
This is the most millennial apocalypse we could have ever asked for.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Right. And you know, and I think we've just become kind of a shitty society, if I can say that.
Okay, so if we vote for you for Prime Minister, Adam, will you make your slogan, vote for Adam, don't be fucking weak?
Yeah.
That's, you know what? If you'll be my campaign manager, I'll run with it.
I will. Let's do it.
This is your team right here, boy.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, there's no problem with being weak in moments. You know, weakness and strength, they go hand in hand. We got to run the gambit. But what you can't be is
you're using it to learn. Exactly.
Don't be a useless tit. You know, that's my creed. If I had a son, I would tell him every day, listen, don't be a useless tit, okay? You can do whatever you want, just don't be a useless tit. Know how to put up a shelf, know how to make a meal, know how to clean your car, know how to change the oil. You know, basic stuff that, you know, at least my father's generation, like my dad comes over, he helps me out with the house whenever I need it, right? And the guy just knows a little bit of electronics, he knows a little bit of plumbing, he knows a little bit of everything. You know, I know a small subsection of that I absorbed through them, but, you know, most people don't even know how to swing a hammer. I got friends who can't even put up a picture frame. Like that is like the easiest of home renovations is a goddamn picture frame, and you can't hang that. So this is why our rights are eroding, and part of that is because nobody in the conversation about my rights, no one talks about my responsibilities.
No shit.
You know, I want my rights, but I want to be a tit as well. You know,
exactly.
And I want everything convenient, and I want it quickly or 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So
and whenever somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I just got my restricted. I want to get the $2,500 JP Enterprises rifle or whatever." And I'm like, why?
Nope, sell them that. Trust me. I learned a long time ago, you cannot part of, like, I don't know what the saying is, but just sell the asshole the rifle or whatever you want.
When you challenge somebody,
fool and his money are soon parted, is that what you're looking for?
Exactly.
Okay. But that's the problem with our society today, is that, like, looking at the microcosm of that scenario, okay, guys want to spend $2,500 on a rifle, and then they go to the range, sit at the bench, and use it, right? You know, with shooting groups of 25 yards. Whereas they could buy a $700 Smith M&P, shout out to these guys, and, you know, spend the rest of that money on training. Sorry. But, you know, or buy whatever, you know, or a Glock 17 Gen 5 or a Glock 48 or whatever, and go and spend the rest of that money on training. And, you know, go to, you know, Sierra 64 Riflecraft or...
What country are you living in? What planet are you living on, man? I want to look like I know what I'm doing. I don't want to waste time training. I just want people to look at me and see what I'm doing, you know?
What's the point in knowing what you're doing if you don't look cool?
There is no point. There is no... You should never do anything unless you look sick doing it.
By the way, did I tell you guys this is going up on Instagram?
Yeah, duck face, Adam. Duck face.
You know, so I did a shooting course last summer when we were allowed to play with friends, and I'm like, I call myself a basic bitch. Okay, I'm a super simple dude. I am a no frills kind of guy. So, you know, it was a level 4 pistol class. Right. Thank you. It was a level 4. You don't see the candelabra off camera, though. It's fancy as fuck. It was a level 4 pistol class, which kind of made it basically CrossFit meets tactical shooting or dynamic shooting. Right. So, you know, I show up with my 2 buddies. We've each got a Glock and some model on our hip and 2 mags, you know, and that's it. Jeans and a T-shirt. And everyone else on the line, you know, guys got plate carriers, guys are running this, guys are doing all this. They look super hot.
5'11",
and we outshot all of them. And I'm not even a good shooter. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying I outperformed these guys. They underperformed what they were wearing, you know? And you know, not like go out and buy expensive shit, guys, from your dealers, support your dealers. You know, you need that $500 pair of pants, because if you don't wear them, I don't know how you're going to put 2 shots anywhere near each other. But like going back to kind of my ninja training, it's like I like being not necessarily the gray man, but I like being the under the radar guy. I'm the guy that shows up in a t-shirt and jeans and shoots at least within the top 10%, let's say. You know what I mean? I'll give myself a big margin of maybe I'm really on that day. But it's, you don't like you said, Sean, you don't need to go out and buy a $300 aftermarket trigger and extended slide stops, and you don't need base pads and a whole gear. You know what I mean? You need a gun, a holster, some mags, and some ammo and some good instruction. And that's what I really enjoyed my time behind the counter, because, as narcissistic as it sounds, like I have an opportunity to give people good information right from the get-go, and I'm a thrifty person to the point where I want you to save money. So that guy who comes in who wants, that $10,000 package, I'd be like, well, why don't you spend $3 and get all this shit and then training, and then you can do what it is you're doing. But people don't let's be real. Like Chris, you own a martial arts studio. People don't want that. They want to come in, they want the belt, and they want to get the fuck out of there. And that's it. And they want to tell their friends that I'm a black belt, and they want to, show them this in certain situations, and then get upset when you don't, do the correct karate chop to them.
Although frankly, it's the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the people will come in and they'll be done within the first year, because they have those grandiose ideas of what it is to be a martial artist, or they watched a UFC one and it's like, I'm going to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I'm going to be Hoist Gracie. Oh, this shit is hard. The 20%.
Who would have known?
Yeah, exactly. The 20% are the people who they think about it realistically, and they have reasonable expectations, and those are the guys that stick with it forever. And really, it's no different with shooting. It's the exact same thing. 80% want to look tactical, and your 20% are the guys that have they're the ones that stick around. Those are the ones that oh, fucking Doug. Your 20%, like Doug Rodenbush, can qualify at a Project Maple Seed with one hand. It's no different. It's your 80-20 rule works for pretty much everything, right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Let's looking at sport shooting and shooting in general. I watched a really interesting documentary. I think it was Steve Rinella. I don't know if I'm sure you guys know.
Oh, I know Steve. Yeah.
So he did a really interesting thing, and one of the things that really struck me was how sort of once we kind of figured out how to make sure that the food was always around, and that we weren't being raided all the time and all that, the thing of the day became being an outdoorsman and being a sportsman, and that would mean you'd take your rifle and you'd go out hunting, and you didn't need to sustenance hunt anymore, but you would, because this is the trappings of a man. These are the characteristics of a man.
And someday you might have to again.
Well, someday you might have to again, but to be honest, realistically, it was like, we figured out most of the basic shit. You're wealthy, so you need to be seen with your wealth. So you need activities in which to display it. And being an outdoorsman in this sort of the gentry, or what people think of what shooting in England is like,
Africa. Look at African safari hunts and trophy hunts, right?
Exactly, right. And you literally drive up your Sherpas or whatever, your guides do all the work. Sporting. And then your job is done at that point, right? Your job is basically is done after you sign the check and pull the trigger, for the most part.
Yeah.
And
I shot my rhino, and now I'll enjoy a nice glass of port.
Right, exactly. What port? It was funny. I have a friend of mine who's my one successful friend. He's a doctor. He's got 2 specialties, and he was trained in the States. So it was really interesting to talk to him about the firearms thing, because again, being in the U.S., being in a medical setting, he sees a lot more of the stuff than we do. And he's since moved back to Canada after his training, and when we were chatting recently, and it was weird. He was really positive about life and really positive about society. And I found that kind of how could you be? You drive on the roads and you interact with these fellow human beings. From where, sir, are you garnering your positivity? And, it really kind of made me think back that, working in the service industry is going to kill your soul regardless, and you got to figure out a way that you can combat that. I think people who get frustrated you know, and especially capable people, they tend to get frustrated when they look around and you feel helpless when you see that people can't care for themselves, or they can't think critically, or they can't even drive in the fast lane at the appropriate speed, you know. And to me,
Well,
again, you
so
know,
much of this stuff is just plain fucking apathy, I think.
Sure. But it's easy to be apathetic when you don't take personal responsibility for anything that's going on in your life.
Oh my God,
right? Because it's never my fault.
And now the conversation comes full circle, right?
Oh,
God damn, this is like Seinfeld episode right here. Or Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is like better Seinfeld. And that's just it, right? Like, I don't have to be responsible for myself because I didn't get that job because I have a beard and the person interviewing me didn't like a beard, or they didn't like the cut of my jib, or
not my fault.
It's not my fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't pass my grading because, you know, Sensei is having a shit night, or he sucks. You know, and you know, one of the schools I trained at, you know, one of the schools I trained at, you critique yourself, you know, and obviously if you're like, yeah, I smoked that, they're going to be like, you fucking didn't, you suck. And back you go.
Right.
But, you know, what they're looking for is, can you objectively, critique yourself, you know, and that's what people can't stomach, you know. So if I was working with Rooster and I say, hey, Rooster, listen, man, you and I have a quick chat, you know, I noticed this and this happens, and then this is your reaction, and it's probably not the most positive reaction that we could look for, you know, can we do something to change that? It's going to piss them off, right? No matter how right I am, it's going to piss them off. And that's how people are wired. I'm the same way. It takes a big jaw to eat humble pie.
Absolutely.
We talked about this a lot on this show.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just as a small interjection here. That humble pie kind of thing. When it comes to shooting specifically, we've talked about it quite a lot. Where, you know, that being honest with yourself. God damn it! It used to be a good thing to suck at something. Because it made a fellow work harder if he wanted it. When is the last time you saw any of that kind of shit anymore? You do see it occasionally. There's no question, but it's not rare. And that honesty with yourself, like I was saying, that you know, oh, that guy's an asshole because I didn't get the fucking mark that I wanted, or whatever the hell, right?
Yeah. No, you're an asshole because you didn't do the work to get the fucking mark that you wanted.
Right. But you tell that to the average person nowadays.
Forget it. It's all externalized.
Absolute motherfucker.
Well, again, when you
drives me.
When you go to let's say a shooting course, we'll keep it on topic. You know, are you going to succeed, or are you going there to fail?
Yeah.
Me, I'm going to fail. Because if I can succeed in that course, then what the fuck did I just waste my money taking a course where I can perform all the skills and drills that I need to?
You know, and you fail well rather than fail like a fucking idiot and just show up just to turn money into noise. You don't want to
screw the pooch when you're there, but you know, like as an instructor, I feel like you have to give people something to be successful at, because nobody wants this shit kicked out of them day one.
Yep.
But you have to give someone lots of room to grow, you know. So when I go to a course, I'm not looking
to set them up to succeed as well.
Exactly. I don't want to be top 10. I don't want to be the best guy in that course. I want to be the best. I want to learn. I'm here to learn. I don't give a fuck about anyone else. You know what I mean? I don't care how you're shooting beside me, as long as you're shooting safe. I don't care about your scores. I don't care about your hits. You know what I mean? I care about what am I learning, and most importantly, what am I doing wrong? That's what I'm really paying an instructor for, is to break it down, you know. And it was funny because I for TACCOM, one of the modules we had was a course with Lovey Mailspin, who I love. I am in love with that woman. She is, honestly, industry secret, she is the sweetest goddamn girl in the fucking world.
So, Adam, for the uneducated, who is Lovey?
Lovey is an ex-IDF small arms instructor who, like most beautiful Israeli military women, do go on to become instructors and models and this. But, you know, she's one of the few who I can say is the full package. You know, she can wear the clothes, but she can also run the gun, you know. So we did a Tavor course that I was fortunate enough to kind of staple targets for and help her out. And on the course, there were these two young bucks, really cool guys, really nice guys. I kept in touch with them. They had all the gear. They were super fast. They're super dynamic, super movement.
Go fast, go stop kind of guys. Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, go fast, don't suck guys. But they were not maximizing their abilities, we'll say. They were too much focused on the outward appearance of what they were doing, you know. And I kind of, you know, in my advanced, you know, I've got some grays in there, and I kind of give that. I can say, listen, young bucks now in my advanced old age, you know. So I pulled these young bucks aside. I'm like, listen,
32?
Guys. Yeah,
Really,
I wish.
eh?
Chris, you are a doll. You're an absolute sweetheart. No, I'm closer to the big 4-0, but
Closer to.
You know, a lady never tells.
That's right.
But, you know, I pulled these guys
Especially
aside.
a
I'm like, listen,
bearded lady.
what's the point? It's 2020. Don't judge. Keep your whole
No, you're right. No,
Get
you're
ready.
right.
judgments on your side
Get
of the
ready.
screen, babe. But you know, my point to them was like, bro, like, you don't have to go as fast as you possibly can right now. What you have to do is learn as much information and learn the movement as cleanly as you can, and then you add the fast. The fast is the glitz and the glam, you know, for a lot of it, you know. The kata
Keanu
looks
Reeves,
nice.
John Wick training with
Everybody wants to do that dynamic shit, right? And you know, and I could tell it clicked for them, and they slowed right down, and I could tell that they were less interested in competing with each other because they were buddies and competing with everyone else in the class, and their heads turned, and I saw them walk away with a lot more. And then they did a second course, and I actually got an opportunity to shoot that, and I got to share the line with these guys, you know. And again, and I saw that they brought that mentality. And again, when I go to a course, I bring that mentality. Like, I'm a keener. Sure. I can't help it. I love learning, and I love being in a position where I have a lot to learn. I love being a noob, we'll say. You know, and I think if you carry that mentality, no matter how good you are, you will always progress. And that's a whole topic for another podcast.
Always walk away from that situation learning something.
Exactly. Because again, you're paying money. Like, I don't want to waste money. Like, you know, I didn't pay for this course, and the animal was free. But if I had,
regardless of whether you paid for it or not, you showed the fuck up.
You know, and
put out.
And that's what it is. Be the best that you can be, in a sense. But if you don't, that's gravy. That gives you somewhere to aim for. That gives you somewhere to grow. Otherwise, again, if I'm doing a course and I'm smoking everything that you put in front of me, I'm just there to in front of everybody, you know.
I like that analogy.
I'm just there to.
That was not an analogy.
You know, and again, going about, like, guns are so politicized, but they're also so much a part of our identities for a large part. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of dick swinging in the industry, because we're fucking big bearded guys, you know. And the funny thing for me, and for my at least close friends who know me well, you know, it's a weird environment for me, because I'm a fucking bleeding heart, hippie, liberal, softy. I care about everyone. And I don't mean I'm an actual liberal, but, you know, but that's it. And one of the things that I think we do a disservice for our industry is creating a formula that if guns equals this bullshit sentiments and this bullshit politics or this bullshit ideology that goes along with it, you know. And I think you see it on the CCFR page all the time. Guys get on their high horse about the conservatives or liberals this, and guys are like, hey, I'm generally liberal person and I'm a gun person. I don't agree with what our current government is doing, but to come out and say all liberals are libtard, snowflake, sons of bitches, you know, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And that's the one thing I do cherish most about this industry, is all the goddamn puns. But you know, and I
shoot us straight at them. Tell them what you really think.
That's what we need to go back to. What I was saying is really getting help, like an actual fucking PR firm. Because if you look at Chris in the martial arts industry, in the yoga world, any business that you have that I call a passion profession, you know, this is your passion and now you want to do it, you're awesome at doing it, but generally you suck at business. You know what I mean? And I see that a lot in our industry.
The gun and martial arts industry both.
Especially, and I don't mean you're a bad business person, you know.
You just never learn the skill.
You just never learned the how to cross your T's and dot your I's, you know. And that's why one of the things I try to tell my dealers is like, hey, listen, I'm not a Yale graduate, I'm not a Schulich School of Business graduate, but I have a little bit of business acumen, you know. So when you come to me and you say, listen, Adam, I don't want to apply for credit, And I'm sitting there scratching my head like, well, how are you going to fill a store if you're paying for everything ahead of time? I get the wisdom to it, but let's be honest. You know, the world runs on credit. Don't be a goon. You know, if I give you 10K credit, don't spend 12, you know, spend 4, you know, and that's where, you know, not being a sleazy salesman comes in. And that's kind of like when I jumped onto Amchar, I called up everyone and I gave them my rap. And my rap is, listen, the reason why I'm here is because I'm selling Glock and it's easy. I don't have to push it. All I have to do is make sure that you know that if you need something, I will get it for you. Yeah. And if you have a question, I will do my best to answer it for you. I'm not going to sell you 10 of something when you need 5, you know?
And you're going to stand behind that product too, right?
Definitely. That makes it easier, you know? And to be honest, I hate sales. I hate being a sleazy person, like a sleazy salesman, sorry. And I hate the concept of selling something for the sake of making a sale. And that's why for me, it's very hard to sell something I don't believe in, you know? And it's kind of it's a shitty sense if you're the guy paying me to sell product for you, but I've never had a customer come back and be like, you know what, Adam, you saved me $50 today and I'm going to spend $100 next week, you know, and get you flush again. No one's ever been upset by that, you know. I've always tell, like, whenever I train new staff, I always say, you got to leave guys something in their pocket to get a coffee. You know what I mean? Don't empty guys' pockets because you want them to come back. And you know, advice I got from my buddy who's a real sales rep in a real company that is, you know, light years ahead of us. The best advice he gave me is, listen, you don't want to be a salesman. What you want to try to do sincerely is become a trusted advisor. Okay. And that is what helps me sleep at night. That is what I can look into the mirror and say, listen, I'm not a scumbag. I didn't sell this new startup business 10 guns just because the guy doesn't know any better. You know, and I didn't unload a whole bunch of shit inventory on one of my big dealers just because he's got deep enough pockets to swallow it without thinking about it too much. You know, and I
got him those 5 guns that he's going to turn around in a week, that he's going to reorder the next week, and that 5 guns turn into 10 guns, and those 10 guns turn into 20 guns, and blah blah, and go on.
Exactly right, and everyone loves to make a.
Here, I want to bring in the Glock 48. Should I do it? Well, you should or you shouldn't because of this, and this, right? Or you know, they're gonna call you and be like, hey, what's the hype? What's going on? Right? And like you said, trusted advisor, and then you stand behind that product that you sell, and you're gold. You're gold.
But here's going back to kind of what we were saying and talking about the whole big swinging dick of the industry, and not as much of a point, but just as a comment is. It's that 80-20 rule. So let's say my mailing list is a couple hundred dealers long. I make this same offer to every single one of my dealers. Listen, if you need me, I will do whatever I can to help you grow your business. Because if your business is not growing, you're not buying off me. And if you're not growing and buying off me, you're not increasing your sales. So I need to make my bosses happy and do it in a way that morally and ethically allows me to be myself. So my vested interest is to help you grow your business. How many people are going to take you up on that offer? How many people are going to sit down and say, you know what, I'm out of my element, or I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm not quite sure? Will that ego allow them to come and say, hey man, like, let me bounce some ideas off you? And that's why the second part of the advice that I like to give to all my dealers and people as well, whether you're an entrepreneur or for every entrepreneur, every entrepreneur, is you need a support group. You need a network of people, not your buddies, not your friends. You need professional network of people that you can call at 2 or 3 in the morning if needs be and say, hey, you know, this just fucked up, or I fucked this up, or I had this crazy idea, or, you know, I'm in uncharted territory. I don't know what to do. And it's kind of the idea of a mentorship. And again, going back to what we've missed is,
frankly, you need a mentor.
You need a mentor. I have my mentors. I've had mentors my whole life, you know, and it's made me the awesome fucking dude you see in front of you right now. And I still have mentors.
Hallelujah.
You know, one of my mentors is a gentleman named Joe G. A lot of people kind of know him in the industry. He's been around forever. And he's what I call the Oracle. I haven't brought him a situation that he hasn't at least encountered himself. He doesn't always have an answer, and he doesn't always have necessarily an answer I agree with, but he's someone that I can trust to give it to me straight. You know, and that's that is my advice for all entrepreneurs is have that network of people to be able to support you, because being an entrepreneur is a grueling, thankless fucking job, you know, and everyone thinks I'm going to get into the gun industry. I'm going to be shooting so much. I don't even a free ammo. Blah, blah, blah. Like I haven't shot less being in the industry, you know? So that's, and it translates so much to our life, because everyone's got interests, everyone's got hobbies, everyone's got dreams, goals, or whatever. If you don't have someone who's a couple steps down the road, it's going to be that much harder for you, you know? And that's why I've always never had a problem, which is kind of a fucked up way to say it, but I've never had a problem admitting that I don't know something. Admitting I'm wrong is different. Admitting I don't know something is easy for me, you know, because I would rather say right now, hey, I don't know what I'm talking about, and swallow my foot up to my knee and just have you give me an answer. Or I'll say, you know what, I'm shooting from the hip. Let's see how this works. And, you know, sometimes you hit and sometimes you don't. Doug, you should never sell a Glock unless you're buying another Glock. What's this? So I can get him into a Smith & Wesson like his brothers and me. You know, someone's got to be a black sheep in the family, Doug. It might as well be the smartest guy. Get your son on a Glock. Get him reliability, you know?
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that was huge, dude, what you just said. That should sell you more distributorships like immediately, in my opinion. But what do I?
But again, most, like, you know, it's hard to say some things without like people thinking I'm blowing smoke. You know what I mean? If I come in and say, listen,
the reality is that the approach that you're taking to your job is that you're as invested in their success as they are, and you should be. That's the way that, because ultimately you're doing the right thing for the right reason, and it's benefiting both of you, right?
Exactly, and that's why I tell them, listen, I'm going to be selfish, because at the end of the day, I need you to pay me your monies, but I'm going to grow your business for you as well, or I'll help you grow your business. So I can be selfish, but help you out as a priority instead of making, you know, my quota or whatever.
That's right.
Upgrade it to a Zev, Dave. Oh. I'm a stock gun guy, man. Keep your triggers stock. Everything's stock for the most part. Throw a connector
for the
in.
most part.
I'll allow you to throw a connector and upgrade your sights, because everyone knows Glock sells you shit sights. But
and the slide and the barrel and the grips and
But you know, like this is what I used to explain, because again, just because I sell Glocks, I own a number of pistols. There's not a whole lot of guns I don't like, to be honest. But you know, people ask me, well, what's the difference between a Glock, let's say, and a CZ Shadow? And I said, at the end of the day, nothing. You know what I mean? But for instance, Glock is a harder gun to shoot. Okay, so if you take the more difficult route up the mountain, you're going to be a more proficient shooter, you know, and that's the reality. If you can run and gun with a Glock, anything you pick up, you're going to be a dynamo with it. If you start on that $2,500 sub-pound trigger with, you know, comped and extra weight added, yeah, you might shoot that gun well, but as soon as I put a Glock in your hand, you're going to look like dog shit, you know? And for me as an industry member, I'll say one of my, I guess, personal goals to avoid embarrassing myself is I need to be able to shoot any gun reasonably well. You know what I mean? Southern Ontario is not huge. There's not a ton of ranges. You're going to run into someone you either sold the gun to, know, or just had some kind of interaction. And, you know, one of the great things about this industry or this community is how goddamn enthusiastic everyone is. You know, want to shoot my gun? Want to shoot my gun? Want to shoot my new gun? Well, you know what? Fuck yeah, I do. And if there's 10 rounds in the mag, I'm definitely shooting it, you know? And again, how much of a trusted advisor would I be if I'm like flinching all over the place, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of my mentality, is to maintain
cool.
I would look tech. That's honestly the whole reason I have a beard, is because I'm in the gun industry. I'm adorable under here. I'd look 10 years younger. My mom wouldn't be embarrassed to be seen in public.
When he goes to sleep at night, he just unhooks it from his ears
right.
on his bedstand.
It's a prosthetic, you know.
Yeah.
It's attached to my genitalia as well.
As it should be.
Right?
Okay, there we go.
Wow.
That was my segue. That's the non sequitur to bring us back to shitting on the May 1st OIC.
Oh, I thought you were going to say bring us back to your genitalia. I'm glad you went to the OIC.
Yeah.
That's on my OnlyFans account. See me, Bearded Wonder, at OnlyFans Duck. I don't know what that is.
There probably is an OnlyFans called Bearded Wonder. You know that.
Probably.
It's actually me and my twin brother, but it's just both me.
We're at an hour, almost an hour 20. Where can people find you?
They can't, and that's what I love about my job. I
Excellent.
am unreachable to the end user. I have risen above the peons of you mouth breathing, retail paying people. You
You
cannot
make me
reach me.
blush.
But
You
if
go to your
you
local dealer and you buy a Glock or a
What
Mosin.
about-
exactly, go buy a Glock certified, Amchar certified Glock from one of my favorite dealers. But no, if you ever really need to reach out and get a hold of me, amcharcanada.com. My contact information is there. Adam@amcharcanada.com. Put up the bat signal or the Glock symbol, and then I'll come running.
It's
If anyone has an
AMCHAR.
issue, I don't know, it's a Glock. You shouldn't.
AdamPerfection.ca.
You know what? That's what our saying is. Amchar is your perfection provider. That's my je ne sais quoi that I've created.
Mais oui.
You don't even want to know how much they paid me for that. No, but most dealers are going to have my contact. So if it's a Glock question, or you have an issue, or you got a question about parts compatibility or parts, or it's the Glock is the simplest goddamn thing in the entire universe, and I love it for that reason. But yeah, I'm always happy to see me. You'll see me at Glock Day events. I love getting out to the dealers. As soon as this kind of insanity of 2020 is over, I'm definitely coming to Saskatchewan. I've already told Melanie from Northern Elite she's taking me hunting. That's just a thing that's going to have to happen, and if I can get my work to cover the flight there, even better.
We might have to go match Rooster.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely come and say hello, because I got a lot of traveling, and to be honest, like I said, kind of before we jumped live, is we're pretty weak, as I'll say, in Saskatchewan, so I definitely need to go and swing my my Amchar genitals all over this place.
You're just gonna Glock piss all over the province?
Just Glock all over the place.
You can't swing your genitalia without hitting a cat around here.
But to be honest, I'm gonna have to wait for the warmer weather. In the cold weather, it is less awe-inspiring and effective.
If you're not here in February, we're not buying a Glock.
Yeah,
that's all right.
The deal.
I don't mind missing out from that one Glock sale that I needed to answer 5 emails to sell.
Yep.
I have predominantly shot M&Ps my whole life, like essentially, and then I picked up a Gen 5 17, and it comes. And the main reason is these big sausage fingers. Okay, and so I run really high, and I get bit all the time. Well, it comes with that beaver tail grip, and that has changed my life.
Man? I really like what they did with the M&P 2.0. I'm a big fan of Smith & Wesson. I really like the gun. I've shot the M&P 1 and 2 a shit ton of times. I've got a lot of rounds through it because I got a lot of friends who own them, and I enjoy the gun. The only thing I don't enjoy about it is it's a complicated mechanism. You know what I mean?
True.
And doing a trigger job on it and getting into the guts and those roll pins, it's not pleasant. And that's why, to be honest, there's going to be a lot of imitations, but no one has done it as well as Glock. No one has made it as simple and as foolproof as Glock. And yet you still have guys putting their recoil springs in backwards.
Yep, all the time.
Stupid is as stupid does.
There it is.
I'm not a smart man. This is my favorite.
I finally remembered a quote.
There you go. Stupid is as stupid goes.
Shout outs. Let's go with Chris. Who do you got this week?
Fuck. Come back to me.
Adam?
Sorry, what now?
We're doing weekly shout outs. So who do you want to shout out this week?
You know what? I'm going to shout out my good friend Devin over at Black Box Custom. He is the consummate fucking gentleman. I love that dude, both hetero and homosexually. I just can't say enough good things about the guy. He's an absolute pleasure to deal with.
Give him the double love.
I double love the guy. Like, I honestly,
Great work.
So go check out the guys over at Black Box Custom. Big fans of what they do. Also, if you're in Southern Ontario, you're in my neck of the woods, check out my good friend Sean over at Red Tower Armory. He just moved into a new sick shop that's like triple the size of his last one. So if you need any Cerakote custom work like that as well, he'll hook you up, tell him I sent you, and he'll charge you 10% more like all my friends do. So
nice. Kurt?
Those are my peeps.
Not a whole lot this week, honestly. Prairie Boys Excavating, allowing me to do what I do, both recreationally and work-wise. Great company to work for. Just outside of Saskatoon here, in Kinley, Saskatchewan, about a half hour out of
The
Saskatoon.
boom metropolis in Kinley, Saskatchewan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One bridge. Great bunch of guys to work for and with.
Nice. Well, I'm going to give a big shout out to Derek and Kurt at Red Deer Shooting Center again. I tried to build an MRA Renegade this week, and it did not go well due to some processes at the Maple Ridge Armory manufacturing facility. But they graciously replaced the receiver, and it's in transit right now. So we can get into detail at a later date. But yeah.
Yeah, no, Kurt and Derek are awesome dudes, man. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do a little bit of work with them, a little bit of business with them as well.
You bet. Check them out.
Yep, I got one now.
Always check out our main sponsor, EM Precision Rifles, emprifles.ca. Bolt Action Coffee. If you want great.
Hold on, don't go too far. Don't go too far, Sean. I got one now.
You just
my
damn it.
My brain worked. My brain worked. Now I gotta get it out of my brain. All right, I'm gonna my shout out's gonna go to my buddy's niece. She's 12 years old, and she just bagged her first deer. He used a rangefinder. She bagged this deer at 255 yards.
Good girl.
With a friggin' 308.
Good girl.
The gentleman's caliber.
That's my shout out.
Good shout out.
Awesome. Well, listen, I just want to say thanks for inviting me out here, guys. I hope I brought a little something other than bullshit to the day, and thanks for having me on.
Buddy, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Of course it was. It's fucking me. Like, come on. But no, I mean,
and
all I can say is it was absolutely your pleasure, Adam, and it was great having you.
The pleasure was all mine. I assure you.
We're gonna edit this, right?
Yeah.
Why?
There we go. Show just got way better.
Sean, carry on with your
I think Sean is frozen. Either he's giving us the 1,000-yard stare, or he just lost his internet.
I knew he was an operador, which is operator in Portuguese.
Sean, you shouldn't have smoked that bowl, dude.
We should just start saying things for him. He's going to see himself now. Have you ever seen yourself on TV, Sean?
He's on his iPad and his fucking phone now.
Yeah. Oh, the other Sean is gone.
Jesus, that is uncomfortably close.
Okay, there we go. Well, for all of the people who are listening to this after the fact on audio, Sean's fucking around, and he's the guy who's supposed to take us out. We're just going to try.
All right, one last shout out for Bolt Action Coffee and Call Sign 66. Look them up on Facebook, Instagram, and their websites. Other than that, closing comments. Thanks. Apologies, as always, to Wes Stevens. We ran out of time for you this week. And big shout out to John Johnston and his band at the Dirt Road Scholars for the kick-ass music. See you next week. Hey, Sean.
Hasta la vista, baby. Welcome back, Sean. Bye, Sean.
Thanks, buddy. Bye, guys.
Bye.